Stitches of love we weave so. In this online world we come to grow. Mom and Pop Quilt Shop, where hearts align. Let's embrace the craft and let our souls shine.
Hey everyone, welcome to Weekend Project. I'm Laura Lynn of the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop, and we got something cute for you this weekend. We're gonna make a giant poof. Now you can use this to sit on, put your feet on. You can use it for pretty much anything. If you didn't want to do it as a Dresden plate here, you could just do this one neat bit of fabric, or you can piece it, whatever you like. I'm going to give you the measurements to get this big one right here. I'm hiding all my extra bits of batting. Now this is a great way to store things. If you don't have a lot of space, you can use the inside of this unit as a storage unit. So winter jackets wrapped up in a blanket or whatever, extra clothes, stuffies, batting that I have here, all sorts of little scrappy bits, whatever you would like, right? So I made this one, and then I made this little tiny one, and it makes a great little pillow for when you need a nap on your desk. Or even a pin cushion. And I think it'd also make a great stuffed cake. Like if you wanted to make like a stuffed cake. Happy birthday to you. It'd be so cute. Oh my goodness. So we're going to do the big one today, but I will give you the measurements for that one too, okay? So stay to the end, and I will give you the measurements of how I got here. This is cute. It's adorable. It's hefty. I have sat on it. I have put my feet on it. It's quite comfy. And what a way to not look at bags of batting. You got some pretty decorative furniture in your place. So I took a Dresden ruler here. This is just a layer cake Dresden plate. And I took this one and I did 20 cuts for the big one, but for some reason the small one took like 24, but I only went to the 2 inches on the small one. I did the full cut for the big one, okay? So that kind of gets you to about 23 and a half inch across in a circle. And then you want to make another one for the bottom. Now you could cut this in half and put a zipper or some Velcro, whatever. I just used the side slit for where it goes around to be able to stuff it. So and you also could, like I say, put a zipper there or some Velcro or whatever makes you happy, okay? So once we get our circle together, a big Dresden, okay, let's finish that off by just putting this last little piece in here. This is a great stash buster as well. So you can make one of these, and then with all your little extra bits of fabric that you're not quite sure what to do with, but want to make use of, you can shove it in there until you need a use for it. I do have a circle for the center. You could come all the way in, down to nice precise points. I'm not so great when it comes to points like that, so I'm more than willing just to, you know, slap a little circle on top. Adds nice decorative. Okay, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to join the other 2 ends together. And I got this fabric that was gifted me from Tracy Wick, so thank you very much. But it was a little bit too, you know, bright for this side, but that side looked so perfect for the project. So you have 2 sides of your fabric. You could use either side. It doesn't matter. I thought that other side really added to the project. The little blue and the white, popping out the blue and the flower and the gingham. Okay, now we're going to take this and just press it flat, and then I'll show you how to prep the circle. It was super easy. Okay, so there's our circle so far. Okay, and then I've got 2 bits of yellow fabric here. I've just put them together, made a circle to make sure it was big enough to fit. I use a tape, like a masking tape as my a little template, and then I'm going to sew all the way around, and then I'm going to turn it. I'm going to cut just one side of this and then turn it right side out and then stitch it down. So that's how it's going to be nice, even, well, a very precise circle. Okay, so now we got there. Let's this was the part we just added, so let's just give that a little bit of heat. Sophia's snoring away, which is good. Okay, now we're going to come down, do a circle all the way around. The small one you could use, like I said, as like a little head pillow, even something for a small one. You want to make a matching one for a dolly or something like that. It would be so cute. You had a little tiny animal one to pop on it. Too cute. All right, so now we get all the way around with our little circle. Now you could come in here and take a couple little relief cuts so it makes the edge of that circle more precise and not kind of floppy looking. So we don't want floppy. Okay. And then you're just going to pull those two apart, just like that, because you only just want to cut one of them. Okay, you just want to cut one of them, and approximately the center. So you're going to poke it out in the center. We're going to make a snip this way and then that way, so it looks like an X. Okay, so we're going to go this way. Okay, so we know which way it went, and then we're going to go there and there. Now we're going to take it and turn it right side out. And we're going to push our finger along that seam edge just so it gets nice and rounded. She's fine. Comment in the chat if you can hear Sophie snoring. Okay. And that, to me, it just gives you a nice cleaner looking circle when you're trying to do circles. Sewing around in a circle, right? Because other than that, we would have had to leave an edge around here to be able to turn right. And it never really looks right. It always seems to have one side that's almost like a little bit flatter. Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to take that edge that we put the cut on face down, and we're going to make sure we have plenty of space to go all the way around. So when we do a nice zigzag stitch or straight stitch, whatever you like, I think a nice zigzag stitch looks good, and it does keep it nice and sturdy. And making sure we're kind of equal. You don't have to do as big a circle. I just wanted to make sure I was really covering everything. I'll show you on the other side what it looks like for coverage wise. Okay. Just flip it. Okay, see, we've got lots because the coverage is calling out here. So now I'm just going to turn this back over. Now whether you use a straight stitch or a zigzag, or even one of your favorite stitches, like I said, I like a zigzag. Just pop this right down under here. Take our pins out as we go. Just do a little ziggity zag all the way around. Trying to hug a little bit from the Dresden side as well as the circle that we're trying to put in the center, so you kind of get a little bit from column A and a little bit from column B. Okay. Y'all having a great week so far? It's been beautiful here these last few days of September ending, or September starting, sorry. I'm jumping it, all right. Okay, so now we come back to the table. And then when you're doing the pinning around, you want to be able to, that looks nice and good, and everybody's in the pool, okay? All right. Now you want to be able to fold your circle in half, so you have a half circle. And then you're going to take some markings or pin marks. I put pins on the other circle for the bottom at the half marks. Okay, here and here. I usually thread it in like once or twice, and then I take those two pin marks and I face them together. Okay, so I take it out of the fold there, there, and then we find the other ones on this side. Okay, same. Right there. Okay, so when you go to lay out your fabric, like my flowers were directional, so I tried to make sure the flowers around my puff or poof were directional, so they were upright, like these ones here. So if this is going to be my top, and I want to lay my strip of fabric that's going to wrap around. Now you could piece this too if you wanted to. You really want to end up with about 75 inches in the end to get you wrapped around. So this is like 23.5 across for your circle, about 75 inches around for your circle, and then you'll need another one like the top for your bottom, okay? And that's pretty much all you need. So like it is a really great stash buster. Okay, so we want to make sure that our flowers are going to be upright. So let's find I did mark these with a marker of where I needed to be. So I'm going to take one of my markers, since this is the top, and my flowers are this way. I'm going to take one of those marked and line it up with a pin. And then go around to the next one, find the pin, find the mark that comes close to the pin. There we go. There's my mark right there. There's my pin. Pin, pin, pen, pen. Okay, and then again, over on this one, there's the green line right there. Take it and line it up. And as you just keep puttering about get your 4s sections in there first, and then you just work little section to section from next pin to next pin, working the fabric all the way around. Okay, so let's grab this. And once you sew all the way around, like I say, you can leave a gap wherever you're going to leave a gap to be able to stuff. And you could also just buy bags of stuffing if you wanted to. I mean, that's completely up to you. But, I mean, there's always extra blankets, probably some pillows we, don't want to use anymore. Wrap them up, let that be like the center core, and wrap a few things around it, stuff some batting around it. You could definitely fill it. You can even bean bag it. But I would put a bag inside of it to fill with the bean bags or beanies, right? So, sorry. Oh, the ragweed is getting like super crazy here. It's everywhere. Okay, just making room all the way around. Pin it. Then we're gonna sew it, and then we'll do the top and the bottom the same, and then you just stuff it, and you have yourself this really cute unique piece of furniture for your quilt space, your craft room, your kids' room, your living room, your cottage, the deck. And it doesn't really matter. You can put it anywhere and use it for many different things. I think even the small one would be perfect, even just for a heel. Like if you're one who crosses your ankles and just want to have a little bit of something that gets your feet up off the floor, that's a great way to do that for sure. Question is, did I cut my piece a little too long or a little too short? Okay. Okay, seems like we got all the way. Oh. Gonna shift just a little bit. I think I might actually cut my piece at 78 because that was my original piece, but that's not the right number. Let's just shift around a little bit. It may take a moment, so be patient. Make sure I have the edge all the way up to my outer circle edge, because that's going to make things look a whole lot better. Okay, I think I do. I think I did actually cut it a little bit bigger than I needed. Okay, let's zip this just a second here. Just taking in, I think I had it at the 78 instead of 75. Let's just shake that there and see what it looks like. I did go around twice just to make sure, so there we go, that's much better. You can cut that extra off or you can just leave it. Doesn't matter. Nobody's ever going to see it. Okay, perfect. Now you go all the way around with sewing, and I kept it more of like a 1/2 inch seam allowance just to allow for extra. Now, if you wanted to put any like piping or anything like that at this point would be a really good time. You can put it in this little section right here, make sure the pipe is this way, the fabric is tucked in here, and then you can add a nice little decorative piping all the way around. I think that would look cute. Okay, so I'm trying to go on the outside of my foot. Normally I try to ride my foot like right there, which is like at the quarter, so I'm going to go on the outside of it to give me a little bit thicker seam allowance, just to make sure I have everything in there. And you could go twice around to make sure it's super secure. This is a great way to reuse maybe some upholstery fabric, some denim, some corduroy, some canvas. Especially if it's going to be outside, you know, when outdoor fabric goes on sale. Some of those really big prints, you can make a couple of these like little poof cushion thingies for, you know, the backyard. Kids' party room. Got that, you know, that one kid that comes over and you just don't want him sitting on your furniture. Here's a poof for you. I'm kidding. I don't know what's going on. Now once you do this to the top and the bottom and wherever you're leaving your gap, it's going to have to be big enough to be able to get your hand in there for sure. Okay, and to be able to stuff it, and then you just turn it, once you turn it right side out, you stuff it, and then you just hand stitch that one section closed, or you leave it so it just gets velcroed, right? You just attach the velcro onto either side of the flaps, sections where you're leaving it open. Oops. All the way out to the edge as much as possible. Okay, almost there. Almost back around again. It is a lot. And of course you could adjust this if you're not to use such a big Dresden piece. You can use a smaller one if you want. You can sew right down into the corners, make a nice pretty point. Like I said, I'm not always the greatest when it comes to making those points all line up, so I'd rather just kind of cover it with a circle. So that way it kind of takes the stress out of it. I want projects to be fun and, you know, entertaining, like, so able to have some of that fun. Just kind of letting go of a few things. Okay, so back around again. And somehow we had a weird little thread got caught in here. Okay. Alright, now take that and make sure when we turn it right side out it looks good. I thought there might have been a place or two I got a little tiny bit of a pucker, but I'm really not too worried about it. If you wanted to, you could pinch this, iron it, pinch this together and do like a nice little seam right there. That would be a kind of like a little decorative little lip to go all the way around. So then when you get your your bottom piece pinned in with the right sides together, doing the same aspect of that, of going all the way around. Okay, I'll show you because of the small one here. You sew it just like that, and then you leave a little gap in the side and then to stuff it, okay? So and that's, you get a big one like I have right there. This one right here, I used tell you how I got there. I used the Dresden ruler and I dropped it at the 2.5 inch where I cut it, and then this gave me like a 4.5 or 3.5 or 4-inch circle in the center to be able to replace. It took 24 of these to come all the way around in this sort of shape, and then to come around on this side it was 17. It took me 17 of 2-inch square cuts at 6 inches long, and it was a 9-inch on the bottom. Okay, now like I say, you just use two different fabrics or one fabric and just do these as two little solids. It makes a great little pillow, even like this. You know, have yourself a little cat nap. I think it's great. You know, elbow, it's a little support for something. You never know. You never know what you're going to use it for. Like I said, even your crossing your feet just on something to give that little bit of a support. So, and then for the large one, like I said, it was about 23 to 23 and a half inches across, depending on how your seam allowance is in the fabric that you have. Just kind of play with it. And then it took the measurement around. So mine gave me about 75-ish. And then for space, you could easily cut those strips of fabric to make that 75-inch width of fabric, right, to go all the way around. And then another circle for the bottom, okay? And then that gets you this big beauty here. I love it. It's heavy because it's full of padding. It's so much fun. I hope you make one. Thank you very much for watching, liking, and subscribing. And we'll see you on the next one, okay? Take care. See you soon.